Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a video today about why you should come and live in a country like Spain. I'll go through some of the things that I consider to be pros about living in this country, and hopefully the information will come in handy should you be considering a move to Spain. Now today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, and I'll tell you more about NordVPN during the video. So let's get started. I'll talk about some of the things that make Spain a fantastic country to live in. A couple of years ago I did a video called Don't Come to Spain If, and that was one of my most successful videos on YouTube. So we'll see if people are as interested in the pros as they seem to be about the cons. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is diversity, and Spain is a very diverse country. I have said this in many videos over the journey. Spain is a diverse country geographically, Spain is a diverse country culturally, and diversity is one of the things that I most like about this country. Now when it comes to that geographical diversity that I just mentioned, you can't go wrong in a country like Spain. You can find everything here. You can find deserts, you can find beaches, you can find mountains, you can find fantastic cities, you can find small quaint villages. There is something here for everybody. The north of the country is a lot different to the south of the country. If you go to a place in the north like Asturias, think Scotland. But in Asturias you'll also find fantastic beaches, and it is one of my favorite parts of the country. In fact, as you probably know by now, the north of Spain is my favorite part of the country. The Valencian community, for example, Valencia, Alicante, places like Murcia, places in Andalusia, Almeria, Malaga, Cádiz, all of those coastal areas there. Very attractive places, and a lot of foreign residents decide to call those places home. Spain is also a very diverse country, as I said before, when it comes to culture. When it comes to the different languages that are spoken here, there are 4 official languages in Spain. You've got Castilian Spanish, you've got Catalan, you've got Basque, and you've got Gallego, the 4 official languages. And then there's a couple of other languages spoken around the country as well. So linguistically, Spain is a very diverse country. And diversity, as I said, one of the things that I love about Spain. Now, the second thing about Spain that is a magnet for a lot of people is the weather, especially if you're coming from one of the colder climates in the north of Europe. In fact, there are parts of Spain where the weather is good all year round, for example, the Canary Islands, and other parts of the country where you get good weather for 10 months of the year, for example, on the Costa del Sol. The interior part of the country, where I am now, the weather is a bit hit and miss, but the sun does shine most of the year. So even if it's a cold winter, you do get sunny days. And let's be honest, weather is one of the main reasons why people choose to live in this country. Now, the next thing I'll talk about is one of the main reasons why people choose to live in Spain, and it is because Spain is a safe country. Okay, it might not be the safest country in the world, but it's right up there when it comes to security. There's no gun violence here, and the streets are safe to walk at virtually any time of the day. Alcohol-related violence is also relatively low, especially if you compare it to a place like Australia, where you tend to see a lot of alcohol-fueled fights. Here in Spain it does happen, of course, but it's not as visible as it is in a place like Australia. So do come to this country if you want to live in a safe place. Now, when it comes to quality of life for foreign residents here in Spain, Spain normally does very well in expat surveys. In fact, there's a survey published every year where they compare different countries around the world for foreign residents, and Spain is normally in the top 10 or top 15 in this survey. And one area where Spain does very well in their survey is when it comes to leisure options. In fact, Spain always seems to be in the top 5 when it comes to leisure. And I suppose that one of the main reasons for this is, of course, the weather. Having good weather most of the year means that you can do a lot of outdoor activities. A lot of outdoor activities when it comes to water sports. There's a lot of different options when it comes to mountain activities, hiking, for example. In fact, it doesn't really matter where you are in the country, there always seems to be a mountain or a coastal area nearby. So if you're a person that likes to practice leisure activities with good weather, do come and live in Spain. Now, for a lot of people, one of the big attractions of this country is the nightlife. In fact, I'd probably say that Spain is one of the best countries in the world when it comes to nightlife and going out. People in Spain love to socialize and are looking for any opportunity for a party. And basically you can find fantastic nightlife all over the country. Cities like Madrid, Barcelona offer fantastic nightlife. Ibiza, of course, is world famous when it comes to nightlife. And as I said, you will find a party atmosphere, or marcha as it's known in Spain, all over the country. It's taken a bit of a hit in recent times, obviously due to the pandemic, but I'm sure that it will bounce back soon. So if you are planning to come and live here in Spain, be prepared for an active social life. And also be prepared for late nights, because things don't start to warm up here in Spain until late. A typical night would probably kick off at around 9:30 or 10 p.m. with pre-dinner drinks, maybe a few tapas, and then you'll either sit down and have a meal or go bar hopping or on a tapas crawl and try out different places and different things to eat. And one of the keys to nightlife here in Spain is the variety. You'll find something for every budget, you'll find something for every taste, and you'll find something for every age. So if you love to go out and have an active social life, do come and live in this country. Now I'll just interrupt the video there to talk about the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN. What is a VPN, I hear you say? Well, VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and basically it protects your internet connection and privacy online. Having a VPN means you can use the internet safely because your data is encrypted and your online identity is protected because your IP address is hidden. So if you're like me and you like to travel and you connect to public Wi-Fi a lot, a VPN is a must. Now I use NordVPN for various reasons, even when I'm browsing at home, because I can use the internet anonymously and nobody can see my browsing history, usernames, passwords, or online bank details. And another one of the reasons I use NordVPN is to access online content from sites that might be blocked here in Spain. For example, Netflix Australia, Netflix USA, BBC iPlayer. You just connect to a server in the country where you want to access the content and away you go. You can use NordVPN on up to 6 devices, so you can have it on your phone, your tablet, your desktop, your laptop, and you can also use it on both Android and Apple systems. Now if you want to check out NordVPN for yourself, go to the description box in the section below and click the link or use the special code to get a 2-year plan plus a bonus gift with a huge discount. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below and take advantage of this special offer. Now back to the video. Now another positive thing about living in this country is the size of Spain. Spain is not a big country, but it's not a small country either. So obviously you don't have the same size as a place like the United States or Canada or Australia, which are enormous countries, but Spain is big enough and small enough at the same time, if that makes sense. Small enough in the sense that you can travel easily around the country. You can go from A to B without any hassles, normally by car. You can also take planes, trains. You can get around the country very, very easily, and it's big enough and diverse enough that there is always something to do. It's not like, for example, Portugal, Spain's neighbor to the west, which is a fairly small country comparatively speaking. So you're quite limited there for what you can do. Okay, they've got fantastic beaches, but they don't really have any mountains, so if you like to go skiing, you'd probably have to come to Spain. So the size of the country makes it manageable, and that's also a pro of this country in my opinion. And Spain is also a country where you can have a healthy lifestyle. In fact, the Mediterranean diet is one of the best diets in the world. So if you combine the diet and the good weather when it comes to doing exercise, this is a country where you can have a healthy lifestyle. Of course, there are temptations to eat too much. There are temptations to drink too much alcohol, because it's very, very common for people to drink alcohol here, and there is an alcohol culture, but it's a controlled alcohol culture. People don't really go over the top, or at least a lot of people don't go over the top when it comes to alcohol. A lot of people like to have a drink before their meal. A lot of people like to have a drink with their meal, and the occasional person will have a drink after the meal as well. And the Mediterranean diet, of course, has a lot of variety, lots of different types of meat, fish, vegetables, fruits, nuts, all of those things that you need to eat to have a healthy lifestyle. You can find it in the Mediterranean diet. So do come to this country if you're looking for a healthy lifestyle. And the final thing I'm going to talk about is the cost of living. Now, Spain is not the cheapest country in the world, but it's not the most expensive either. And if you come from a country like Australia like me, Spain is a lot cheaper than Australia, or at least you can find places in the country that are a lot cheaper. In recent times on the channel, we've spoken about how much money you need to live well in this country. Some people asking whether you can live on 1,000 euros a month here in Spain. And the fact of the matter is that you can live on that amount of money, of course, maybe not in a big city like Madrid or Barcelona, but there are plenty of places around the country where you could live with that amount of money. Now, obviously, you won't be living a life of luxury on 1,000 euros a month, but as long as you don't have any expensive habits, you should be able to make ends meet. And then the more money you earn per month, the better your lifestyle is going to be. There are still places around the country where you can find cheap rents. It doesn't cost a lot of money to go out and have a meal in a restaurant, especially for lunch. You can find a lot of lunch deals at restaurants around the country, what they call here the menú del día. These normally cost about 10, 11, 12 euros maximum, and you get a 3-course meal for that price, so eating out doesn't have to be expensive. There's been a bit of an increase in utility costs in recent times, but they're still not expensive compared to some other places. So in general, I'd say that Spain is still a country that has a reasonable cost of living. So on that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. I hope you have found the information useful should you be considering a move to this country. Debate the situation out in the comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.